Hello. Day 4. Hey. Thanks for being here. Day 4 of the workshop. Hey everyone. If you have not yet signed up for the workshop, there's a link in my bio and you can sign up and you'll get this free workbook. It's 20 pages. You can download it right away and follow along. We've already went through day 1, day 2, day 3, and this is day 4. I'm going to do a quick recap for those of you who are new here, and then we're going to introduce another concept. So the first day we talked about how your programming, your ability to communicate, your ability to relate in relationships has a lot to do with how you were shown relationships from your early childhood experiences. So based on how your parents showed each other love or how they responded to stress, are programs that are downloaded into your subconscious and influence how and who you decide to choose as a mate as an adult. Day 2, we talked about your nervous system and how based on those early childhood experiences or early experiences that you've had growing up, those get downloaded into your system, that is your nervous system. Your nervous system is your internal alarm system. And the purpose of your nervous system is to keep you safe and alive. So everything that you've been through gets downloaded into this system so that when you experience something as an adult, your nervous system responds before your logical mind has to think about what's going on. So basically what happens is signals are sent in through your spinal cord to your brain, and your brain has to determine very quickly if this situation is threatening or not. This is an important concept because based on past experiences, based on things that you have been through, influence how your nervous system responds to what it thinks is threatening. And I think this is fascinating because it's basically bringing neuroscience to relationships. And your spouse sometimes can become a trigger for that sympathetic nervous system response, that survival response, that stress response. And it's not necessarily what they're doing that's the issue. It's more so what they represent for you. It's that programming that happens. It's stored in different places of your mind so that you can start making associations. Oh, they didn't do the dishes, and then like later down the road they didn't do something else, and so it might represent the fact that they're not following up for you or showing up for you. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're mad at them in that moment for not doing the dishes. It's representing a larger picture of they're not putting in the work, they're not showing up. So you see how you can make those associations between a simple thing like dishes and it representing a larger picture, and then it activates that nervous system response. So that's how your nervous system works. It's super intelligent. The reason why it learns everything that it learns is so every day you don't have to think about learning how to brush your teeth. Every single day you're like, what do I do with this thing and this toothpaste? Like, oh, I put this. You would have to relearn every single thing that you do on a daily basis if your subconscious mind didn't exist. So it's both frustrating but also exciting because you can rewire your relationship to your subconscious mind. But the first thing that needs to happen is that you have to have self-awareness of what the system is, how it works, and how you can make sustained behavior change. So that's the whole purpose of this workshop. Day 3, we talked about co-regulation and your ability, once you learn how to regulate the system, once you learn more about how your nervous system is programmed, and you're able to achieve optimal states of health and wellness, peace, happiness, you can start positively influencing people around you just by your ability to self-regulate. So I mentioned yesterday, if you were not here, there's a company called the Heart Math Institute. Highly recommend looking them up because they're doing really amazing research on knowing that you are not just your physical body. Your energy really extends into something called your electromagnetic field. So it kind of creates this bubble around you, or what people call your aura. Your electromagnetic field can positively or negatively influence everyone around you. And I know that each of you watching has had an experience of someone coming into the room and you can just tell that they're stressed, they're anxious, they're sad, they're depressed, and it starts to influence your behavior. Or maybe you didn't realize it at the time, but it's having that subconscious influence on you because they're unable to regulate their nervous system, and you didn't know that this happened, or that didn't know that they had this much influence on your own emotional state. So your emotional state emits into this electromagnetic field positive or negative emotions or positive or negative energy, which will influence everyone around you. And this is an important topic because how often is your partner's mood? How often does it influence your emotional state? If your spouse is unhappy, most likely you're unhappy, and vice versa. And someone asked me yesterday to provide more science. So I try to deliver information and messages to you so that you can understand at the level where you're at, and then I can help just sprinkle in pieces that support my philosophy or my teachings. That basically, when and if your relationship is having a negative impact on your mental emotional health, it's also negatively influencing your genetic, your biochemistry in your body. So if your relationship is the source of a lot of stress, epigenetics and psychoneuroimmunology, which are fields that study how your emotional state affects your health, based on those studies, this shows that if your relationship causes you to be in more stress or distress on a regular basis, it's actually making you very unhealthy. So you're becoming unhealthy by staying in a relationship that is not harmonious. And I am not encouraging people break up or become disconnected, but I am encouraging people to watch these videos together so you can start to understand that it's not your partner's fault that you're unhappy. It's the unhealed trauma, the unhealed things that you haven't yet worked through in your own experience that are being projected onto your partner. And then your partner becomes a trigger for your sympathetic nervous system. They become the reason in your mind why you're so unhappy. And that's not the case. It's not the case. It's a dysregulated nervous system. So if any of that resonated with you, you could totally put something in the comments like yes, thumbs up, because I want people to understand the nervous system and how vital it is for you to achieve optimal states of health and wellness. If you notice that you are dealing with brain fog, with low immune function, with chronic pain, with irritability, emotional reactivity, those are all indications that your nervous system has become dysregulated. It doesn't know what is threatening, and it doesn't know how to calm down. Our society and globally, we don't learn a lot of self-regulation techniques to help you to enter the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest response. So that's basically an overview of what we've covered in the past 3 days. If you're interested in receiving the replays or you want your 20-page workbook, there's a link in my bio. You can sign up and you'll get the replays and the 20-page workbook right away, and it will show you a little bit more about what I just talked about. It's nice to have visual aids of all those concepts that I just talked about because they are complex. They're not talked about enough, and so I'm excited to be here to present this material to you because it's not traditional. It's not something that you're going to really find in other places because it's my own synthesis of things that I've learned and how neuroscience relates to love in the modern world. Today we're going to talk about conflict management. If you are somebody that has a lot of conflict in your relationship, or you resent conflict, or you're really terrified of conflict, not only in your romantic relationship, but at work, with friends, with family. If you shy away from wanting to be confrontational because you're like, I just am not a confrontational person, I don't enjoy conflict, I want to reframe your association with conflict a little bit so that you understand it's a part of evolution. Conflict is how you see a dissonance or a difference in one idea versus the other, and it allows you, if you let it, to expand your mind to see other options than just your set in stone belief system. Not to say that the other person is correct, but conflict is how you bring attention to maybe what's not working or what has not been communicated clearly. And with the right tools, it actually becomes kind of enjoyable because you say, oh, this is how we move forward in our relationship in a positive way where both people's needs, wants, and desires are being more met. That's a mouthful. I'm going to give you a visualization. I always have been taking people on a ride because I don't know how to show you guys a specific picture while I'm doing this, but I'm going to show you my computer. So this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And if you've ever seen this, let me know. But basically you have your physiological needs, which are air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, and procreation. And the key here with procreation is that this is like keeping the species alive. This is not where you actually seek connection. This is for the specific purpose of keeping the humanity alive. Then you have safety needs, personal security, employment, resources, health, and property. Safety needs are feeling safe, feeling like your nervous system is not activated. Above that is love and belonging. So this is where intimacy, a sense of connection, family, and friendship can happen. Most people are stuck in the safety area or this physiological area, right? In the past 2 years, we've had a lot of shit happen where your nervous systems are hypersensitive to maybe not having the resources that you had. Sorry, put you back up here. Your whole world got shooken up, right? Like safety was something that was challenged every single day when you turned on the news and you saw that there was a massive pandemic. Maybe even me just saying that word takes you back to the anxiety that you felt when maybe your job was, you weren't sure, like, am I going to be able to feed my family? Am I going to be able to have my job? Am I going to be alive? Like, how often did we experience threats to our safety over the past 2 years? The way that your nervous system remembers events in your life that are crucial to your survival are when they are paired with a significant emotion. So when you are in fear of your life, or you are in fear of what's going to happen to my kids, or what's going to happen to my job, or am I going to have the money to whatever, those become imprinted. There's like time stamped in your nervous system. So when you start to feel similar feelings that you felt during that time, or during another time at your life when you were experiencing a significant emotional response, when your body feels that similar experience, it will respond in the same way. It starts to associate different scenarios with something that you experienced in the past that it thinks is similar. So again, bringing this back to relationships, if you're not feeling safe in your own experience, if you are having panic attacks, if you are anxious, if you are depressed, if you are fearful, angry, worried, those all put you in a state of sympathetic nervous system arousal or survival mode. So you become stuck at that hierarchy of needs, that safety level. So it says on here, I put it on here, I didn't read it out loud, safety trumps procreation, right? Safety trumps connection. Safety trumps intimacy. So if you are having, or you are experiencing difficulty in your relationship, or difficulty with your friendships, maybe you're more isolated, maybe you don't really have the desire to connect with people, you want to stay at home more, those are all indications that your nervous system is stuck in a fight or flight response. And I am here to tell you that not only is that not a fun place to be, and I recognize that, and you're not stuck there, because I have plenty of resources for you to help you understand what you're going through. Thank you. What you're going through, but also it's bad for your health. And you know this. You know stress is bad for your health, but also being in survival mode for a long time is terrible for your health. It actually starts to upregulate or downregulate gene expression. So you can become ill based on the experience that you're having right now, where you're feeling all these negative emotions, these highly charged negative emotions will have a negative effect on you long term. And I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm trying to wake you up to understand that you have time, you have the resources, now you have the awareness and the knowledge that you can do something about it. And I'm here to provide any sort of knowledge, education, guidance, support for you, because this is the reason why people are having such difficulty in relationships. They're just stuck trying to figure out where safety exists. And when you put your idea of safety into anything else outside of you, you will constantly be searching and seeking and feel insecure, because true safety, trust, all of those wonderful things that we oftentimes seek in other people have to come from here first. You have to learn to trust yourself first. Before you, and a good way to understand, do you trust yourself? Do you have a difficult time making decisions? Do you often second guess yourself? Do you have to seek out counsel in order to make a decision? Those are all indications that you don't trust yourself. And so you'll constantly be searching for safety outside of you, which puts you in a bad spot for if you're trying to connect intimately with anybody, a romantic partner, friends, coworkers, strangers. Like if you're just trying to connect with people and you desire connection, this is something that you'll constantly be hitting that barrier for, because it's really freaking hard to want to connect when you feel very unsafe in your body, in your experience. But it's also very lonely to be on the other side of that, right? Like if you're isolating yourself because you think that if I don't connect with other people, I'll stay safe. You're just shrinking your world, and then that becomes isolating. And that's not a healthy habit either. So with all of that information, does anyone have questions on the nervous system, if you've been paying attention this whole time? So I try to just keep the talks short, because my hope is that you rewatch this or you have your spouse or partner watch it too. That way you can start to open up a dialogue of where you feel unsafe in your relationship or in your own experience, and help to deepen that conversation there. And then I also like to give you a homework assignment that you can do by yourself or with your spouse. And today's is play. So I know we just talked about safety and connection, and why are you bringing up play? Play is a really good opportunity for you to connect back to the part of you that was the most connected to yourself when you were little. 0 to 7, you were the most connected to you that you'll ever be. And I know from 0 to 7, you were playing something in the sandbox with Play-Doh, you were dancing, you were being silly of some sort. And that is like the highest emotional state that you can experience. Play, joy, freedom. So if we can get out of our head just a little bit today and play something, do something for fun, be silly, find your favorite childhood game and order it. Like I was just talking to my siblings. I have 4 siblings, and we were talking about our favorite childhood games. I don't know if anyone had a favorite board game growing up, but there's this one where there's a bridge and you have these little pieces and you go across the bridge and you have to press this thing and it shakes the bridge and makes you fall off the bridge. I don't know if anyone remembers that game, but super fun. So if you can find something today that you can play, that is your homework assignment. Reconnecting to your childlike state and getting out of your head just for a little bit. Again, if you want I have the directions for this and the directions from the previous days in the workbook. If you click the link in my bio, you can sign up and you can just download the workbook right away. It's 20 pages, and then you can rewatch this, or you can watch it with your spouse, whatever you want to do. And I will see you tomorrow for day 5, the last day. Thanks for being here.